Hi, and welcome back to the Global Holistic Wellness and Coaching podcast. This is the conversation continues, where I, a clinical mental health therapist, talk about really fun things with my mother, who is a master life coach. We started this podcast together because we have the best morning conversations in the world, and we thought we should share it with all of you guys. So we get a lot of our content from you guys. So if you're listening to this, thank you. Please like and subscribe to our channel. It helps us keep the content free and send us the questions. So today our topic comes from you guys, comes from our clients. We are talking about this terrible thing that happens when we know best, and we know best for someone we love. And we're watching somebody we love just make the wrong choices over and over and over again. How do you deal with that? Okay. All right. So let's jump into it. So this is a tale as old as time, guys. What do we do when someone we care about is making the wrong choice? So we see this a lot in addiction, right? We see this a lot in siblings when maybe we think our sibling needs to spend less money and save more, or our best friend is marrying the wrong person, or our, mother or father just really needs to stop eating fast food. So the question is, how do you stay sane, right? How do we cope with this, and how can we help somebody we love if they don't want our help? So let's go for it. Let's talk about this. So I know this is something that comes up so much. We got this question, I think, several times in We Teach a Course. If you guys don't know about it, what are you doing? Go to our website, globalholisticcoaching.com, and check out our courses. But this has come up so much in our courses. So
Yeah, it comes up with my private clients too. And it's not just our loved ones, it can be even coworkers, it can be, acquaintances that get into a conversation and it becomes the same conversation over and over again. But where it does get, I believe, the trickiest is, when it's somebody that you're close with, that you really care about, and you want to make them uh, create a change in their life. And I have had people ask me, clients, how can I make my husband, act differently? Or how can I make my sister or brother stop doing the same thing over and over again when they know that it doesn't help? So, the first thing is, unfortunately, we don't have that kind of control, and we cannot make anyone do anything. We can support, we can inspire, we can hold space, but unfortunately, no, we cannot give them a script and make them follow it. So, first thing is acceptance. We cannot make someone change. Mhm.
right. And that is the serenity prayer, right? The serenity prayer I love so much, which comes to us from Al-Anon. Please grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. We kind of
Right.
get there, right? But wouldn't it be nice, and I was like giggling when you said, wouldn't it be nice if everybody just followed our own script, like just did what we thought was right for them? So,
Yeah.
I do want to talk a little bit about how this comes up in addiction, but something that I have realized talking to a group of therapists last week, this comes up a lot in therapy sessions too, where people will book us to talk about other people in their lives that are doing the wrong thing, right?
Yeah.
And causing them
Mhm.
so much stress that this other person who I care about is doing the wrong thing, but have a hard time taking the session and bringing it back to what's coming up for them and why. Which
Right.
I can give a quick little example here. I had a client recently who was getting so upset that her sister wouldn't go to the gym and wouldn't stop eating processed foods, and it's gaining a lot of weight and it's affecting her health. And so I said to her, I said, okay, well, how many times this week did you go to the gym? And she said, well, I didn't have time to go to the gym this week. I said, okay, well, how about the week before? And she's like, well, I see where this is going. And I said, all this energy that you're putting into your sister, do you think maybe it's stirring something up about your choices? And we were able to kind of bring it back. So sometimes we are genuinely worried about somebody we care about. And it's just
Yeah.
easier to see what somebody else is doing incorrectly, right, than our own behavior. But sometimes we're extra triggered because it comes back to something that's reminding us of ourselves. And so, back to that serenity prayer, and I know that Mel Robbins' book, Let Them, is basically the serenity prayer, right? And that's a New York Times bestseller. If you haven't read it, it's a great book on this topic because I really like the way she phrases that taking a step back and letting people be who they are and make the wrong choice, right? Like as if we can let them, right? It's like
Right,
there's that
right,
of
exactly.
surrendering control and honoring that, it might come from the right place that we love this person, we're concerned for them, but we will drive ourselves crazy because we can't make anybody, right? That's what you were saying. Like we can't make anybody communicate differently or go to the gym, but we can. And this is what I like the way how Mel Robbins frames this is we can turn that lens back on ourselves and decide how we want to show up and how we want to be in this relationship, which is
Well,
easier done.
and isn't it a lesson for us in control? I
Yeah.
mean, we want to control somebody else's behaviors, and we can justify it by saying, "But I love them, and or I care about them so much, and they're hurting themselves." Uh, However, we all have to learn at our own time, in our own place. So, I would like to just talk about briefly some of the things that you can do.
Good.
When I was saying you can hold space for someone, and that's hard. Again, when you're listening to poor choices or when you're listening to someone in pain or hurting. But oftentimes, just listening is a greater gift than you can ever imagine. The other thing, too, is when you want to offer some coaching or some advice, I have found one of the best things that works is turn whatever statement you have into a question. You know,
Mm,
instead of you need to go to the gym more, like what are you doing? It's affecting your health. You could say,
yes.
I'm just curious. I know you've been having some back pain. Do you think, getting a personal trainer or going to the gym could help?
Yeah.
You know,
Good. Yeah.
Yes, it's like turning things into a question. And then again, leading by example. Be the person, become the person you wish everybody else was. It's
Yeah.
best to just do the best you can, walk your talk, and people do notice. But one of the only things we can do is, drop little seeds, lead by example, and to turn your statements into questions. You'll find you may get a different result. You might not. And so that's the other thing. Don't be attached. If you turn it into a question and you are leading by example and they're still going, down a path that's, you know, hurting them, that's still something you don't have control over.
Very good, right? And I think that a lot of our work is in that surrendering control and what a lovely teacher when we're in a situation that we have no control over, when we can accept that and then hold space for our own work and what's coming up for us and how this may be impacting us emotionally. One thing that I really like as a reminder of how to hold space for somebody when we're wanting to fix it, and a lot of teachers use this. It's the hugged, helped, or heard. So you basically you can ask them this, or you can just be thinking about this in the way you hold space for someone. You can ask them right now, do you want to be helped? Which might be you need to go to the gym, you need to get this out of your diet, you need to start taking care of yourself, right? Do you want to be heard, which is just listening, right? Just sometimes people just want to show up and they want to vent and they will eventually get there on their own. Or do you want to be hugged, which is like at the end of this, I'm going to hug you. I'm going to give you love today, maybe bring you some soup, right? I'm going to treat so you've got that and how we can show up and hold space. And I know that there are different levels of challenge here. I think one of the hardest ways we can love somebody and watch them make the wrong choices is in addiction. And I work with a lot of addiction groups and helping people on both sides of it, helping people who love addicts, but also helping people get sober. And it is a disease and it is hard and there is relapse, and being patient in that space for that person is so important, and giving people grace and also giving yourself grace. And I just want to mention boundaries real quick too, right? Is that it's okay to check in with yourself when you're in a relationship with somebody that you feel like is making bad choices and it's impacting you. And that comes up sometimes, in lending money, right? Like I'll get clients will say, is it okay if I tell my friend no next time he asks for a loan because he has a gambling problem? Or maybe it's not as obvious as a gambling problem. Maybe it's just I don't understand why he needs to borrow money to go to Bora Bora when I, need money to go to Bora Bora, right? It's okay to hold a boundary and say no, when you need to say no. Maybe the boundary is just more energetic, where you're going to check in with how much energy and mental energy I'm giving to this person that I love, and really checking in with, is this draining me? Is this okay for me? Can I maintain this level of energy giving right now? And it's
Good.
an energetic boundary. And the
Yeah.
last thing I'll say too is like when you're really worried about somebody and it's a space of addiction, it's okay to tell them that you're going to take some space for them until they get help, right? And that's something that, we have seen people on both sides of the fence either implement this or not implement this tactic, but it's okay to protect your own sanity and your own energy level when you love somebody who you're watching them hit their head against the wall and they refuse to get help. So just checking in on your own level of energy and like noticing when your cup is empty and allowing yourself to set some healthy boundaries can be really helpful, because then you can support them more long term. I know that seems like paradoxical, but that is how it works.
I really like that. And I like, the checking in, because it's so true. Sometimes people just want to vent. They're not actually asking for advice or your opinion. And I think that's where it can get frustrating for us when we don't recognize that they're not asking for advice. So we're trying to help. We're giving them our opinion, and they actually didn't ask for it. So I think that's a good awareness, and to like check in, are you looking to vent, or are you asking for my opinion? And then one other coaching tip I'll offer is I like to put out a buffet, and I will say to my you know whether it's a client or a family member, hey, here's the thing. I'm not telling you what to do, but what I can do is like put out a buffet of some things that might help. Pick what you need. Just like if you were going up to a buffet full of different food choices, you're not going to pick everything. You might try something. You're not forced to. So I'm going to give you a selection of some different possibilities. If something sounds good, try it. And remember, anytime you try something, if it doesn't work for you, you can always go back to whatever pattern you're in right now. And so that's another way that sometimes people will be more receptive if they feel they have choice, that you're not trying to force feed them, and that you're just offering some suggestions. Yeah. And one last thing too I'll do is I'll use myself as an example. And, if I notice that, somebody is making some of the same choices that aren't working, I will try to relate in some area of my life where I'll say, I don't know if this will be helpful or not, but, I went through something similar like that, and this worked for me. So then again, you're not, telling them what they need to do, how they need to change. You're not trying to make them, force them. And you might find that you'll feel a little bit better in the long run when you know you did what you could with unattachment.
I love that. And, if you or someone is looking for a little help getting started and making some positive changes, we are offering a new course which starts next Wednesday, February 4th. Actually, probably by the time this is posted this Wednesday, February 4th. And you can learn more about it on our website, globalholisticcoaching.com. It's just a really wonderful 30-day program where you will have live coaching sessions with one of us every week for the 4 weeks. We are giving you step-by-step guidance on how to implement habit changes so you can achieve that personal growth, whether or not it's setting healthy boundaries in some of your relationships, or if it's something bigger like trying to stay sober or trying to get healthy this year. So check us out. We also have a drum roll. Costa Rica retreat that will be coming up in 2027. So you're going to want to check out those details because that's something that we really, really get excited about. We love it so much. It is as fun for us as it is for the people who come. So information on that is coming as well.
I just want to add too that whenever we offer a course, everything's recorded. So if you miss a session, you have it, and then you have access, to the manual, to anything that you're learning, to any live sessions, even after the course ends. So it's something that is useful regardless of your schedule. You can watch and participate at your own time.
Very good. And probably should have mentioned that the 30-day course is online. So it is a virtual course. It is
Live
very,
online. Yeah.
yeah. See, we're getting better at this. Okay. Well, that's it for today, guys. If you have any questions, please send it to us. We love hearing from you guys and tell us in the drop down box below if you're watching us on YouTube. How do you help? How do you support friends in need or family in need? Or how do you stay sane when you're watching someone you care about make those wrong choices? And we will see you next time.
Look forward to hearing from you.